So for this project, I'm going to be talking about two different dances. Be talking about ballet and modern dance, and give you a quick history, my definition of the use of lines and forms, repetitions, inspiration for the choreographers, the themes, um, and then just the different movement, the movement styles communicate. As far as how do they make you feel when you watch it, I have a couple clips that I'm gonna play for you guys and kind of give you a little bit of relation. But quick, let's start off with ballet. So ballet, as we know today, it has begun. It began in the Renaissance around the 1500s in Italy. In fact, the term ballet and ball are, as in masked ball, uh, come from the Italian ballare, to dance. Okay, when de Vinci of Italy married French King Henry II, she introduced early dance styles into a court life in France. At first, the dancers wore masks, layers, you know, costumes, pantaloons, and stuff like that. But really made it really restrictive to move. So the version that you see now is really shut down, and they're a little more free movements, be able to express themselves a little bit better. But when it first started off, they were really constricted because they had a lot of costumes. Um, Dance steps were composed of small hops, slides, curtsies, gentle turns. Dancing shoes were small heels and resembled former shoes, nothing like you see today. So that's a quick little brief history of what ballet was. Now let's talk about modern dance. Modern dance came as a rebellion to ballet. Modern dance flourished in the areas that lacked strong ballet traditions, such as in the United States, where ballet companies were imported from Europe. Although modern dancers originated in Europe, in the 1930s, the United States had become the center of experimentation for modern dance. Many early modern dance were miniature, solo, highly compressed effects. They were unlike anything known for dance at the time. Was dominated by ballet in the 19th century, which characterized by a large cast, great variety of dancer numbers, and spectacular effects. But ballet itself was not always at the big scale that it was at the time. It also started off just like, modern dance. Now, we're gonna go into my interpretation of, of the use of lines, form, repetitions, and rhythms in each piece. Lines, the dancers move. Lines to me is when the dancer movements forms lines in space that have specific intention and create specific moods. Each line represents something. It's kind of like the language of, of dancing. Like when we see an exclamation point, we know exactly what we're trying to say. It's something, we're trying to emphasize, and when there's a question mark, there's something to be questioned. That's in the English language. They have a similar thing in dancing. For example, horizontal line represents being calm and responsive. A vertical line represents elegance. A diagonal line creates action and movement. Form, it's a three-dimensional moving from form or shape. Repetitions is when a dancer moves through time, repeating movements and creating variations. The rhythm, this is probably one of the most important things, but as I talk later, not so important in relation to the music when it comes to modern dance, and we'll touch up on that a little bit more. But dance rhythms are seen as spiral arrangements. We can also perceive it as rhythmic relationships in the dynamics of the dancer's energy levels. Okay, let's talk about inspirations. For ballet, what makes a choreographer want to create a particular dance in the first place? Most choreographers say there's usually two things, either the music or the theme. We all know the Nutcracker, that's probably the most famous ballet. If there's one basic rule in ballet for choreographing, is that the gesture should somehow reflect the music. Now, why do I talk about that? The reason why I'm talking about that, because when we flip it and we go to modern dance, the tendency is, different. Sometimes they make the music first, or they make the dance first, the movements, and then they put the music in. So it doesn't have to have that relation. In modern dance, the tendency is for the artist to be both choreographer and performer. And in ballet, usually when the dancer starts getting to the height of their career is when they switch gears and they go into choreography. Unlike ballet, choreographers who rely on language or codified steps, modern dance creates its own convention or dance language. Thus, they usually find a particular necessity to both choreograph and perform. Another aspect of modern dance is the concern of relationship to the movement and music. And that's the piece that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so now I'm gonna play 2 clips. All right, I'm gonna show you guys the ballet clip, and then I'm gonna show you guys the modern dance, and I'm gonna talk about how that kind of relates. Okay, as we're looking at this, we're seeing, ballet, your traditional, the costumes, they're free moving, they're bouncing, they're moving. When I see this, it makes me feel kind of elegance and, tradition. That's kind of what I see. A lot of just gestures back and forth, but it's more concentrated around the theme around them and the music. Now looking at the modern dance, it's really, bare. You just by this scene alone, it's really dark. The highlight is in the movement, and it's not so much on the costumes or it's really more about the movement and the expression of each movement, and I think I read somewhere where expressive dancing is the modern version of this. So if I had to choose which one made me feel a little bit better and what's more appealing to me, it would probably be modern dance.